everybody. How are you guys? Party people. Come on in here and party with me and Sanita today. Party
That's
people.
party.
Everybody, if I knew how to sing, I would sing, was because people have their music going and they're like, hey, and I'm like, yeah, you don't want that. They'll be like, turn it off.
You don't want that part.
You don't want it.
I'll dance.
I will too. And I'm like, hey, everybody, it's me, Tanisha. Oh, and welcome to We got a party going on over here. It's me and Sanita hanging out today. So I hope you guys are coming in here to party with us. Sanita, we want to tell people about who you are before I do my whole long blurb. You get to do the blurb first.
Okay, well, I told you I liked your write-up. You made me sound so good. But
that was you. All you lived all of that. That was you. I said I got to do her justice.
Well, I am Sanita Mitchell, and I am a mom, a entrepreneur, a wife. I am an angel mom, which is someone who has experienced loss. I lost our baby at 28 weeks gestation. And we have 3 businesses: Bright Sparkles Family Daycare. We have Anaya's Project, which is our nonprofit. And as you mentioned, the Perfect Family Blend, which is our organization that focuses on blended families. And we have 4 children. Again, well, 5. We have 1 angel baby, 1 4-year-old, 1 5-year-old, 1 17-year-old, and 1 26-year-old.
Wee! Y'all got the party going on.
Let's pause right there.
Yeah. Yes. Are you planning on having any more children?
Oh no, honey, that's done.
Okay.
That's finished. We let the other people go ahead out and populate the earth. We have contributed. We have contributed to the earth.
I said, are people still getting pregnant? She was like, yes, Tanisha, people are still getting pregnant. I was like, okay, that's good.
Still getting pregnant, honey. It's just not going to be new.
And I love it. I think it's great. I know I started.
I did my time. And when it was my time, I was very excited.
Absolutely.
I know it was right to not be able to do that. And to finally be able to do that, I get it. I got the t-shirt, but I'm okay.
Yes. Yeah. You've left that. I know. I was doing other people. It's nice. But I celebrate those people that are having babies and living. Like, I think it's wonderful. Well, for me, everybody, if you don't know me, welcome to Tea with Tanisha. I have my beautiful guest, Sanita. So we're going to hang out today and have some really in-depth conversations about something that so many people don't want to talk about, but it doesn't change the pain that we're feeling involving it. But and I'll even share some of my own journey with this topic as well. So I'm Tanisha O. I'm the author of Empowered Stepmother. Here we are over here for our Instagram family over there. If you don't have this book, you really should get it. It's an amazing, amazing book. It's a great book that helps take you step by step through the journey of being an empowered stepmother. Some people say, oh, it's a great, easy read. But guess what, guys? The easiest things that we know are the hardest things to do. So that's one of the tips that I'll tell you. It's very easy to read, but putting into action is a completely different thing. So with that being said, I am a life coach to stepmothers. I also coach stepmothers with the biological mothers of children or their stepchildren or their husbands. So I'm ready and able to do all of those dynamics because I've done my work. I actually currently coach my stepson, which I don't use step. He's my younger son. But I say that just for people who may not have never met with us before, and his biological mother. Sometimes you'll see our various Facebook lives or even recorded videos where you'll see the 3 of us or just his biological mom and myself. And believe it or not, it's actually therapy happening. Yesterday, you were able to see real live therapy as we discussed some things. So it's really good. And Ike loves it because he gets to learn a lot about his mother, which is interesting that he learns through the videos. I didn't know that. It's just this great. So welcome to our community. Welcome to our tribe, guys, Empowered Stepmothers. We're going to dive straight in. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in IG as well as on Facebook. And Sanita and I, probably even me more, because Sanita will be doing a lot more of the talking. We will definitely address those questions. I'm going to let you have it whole floor. It's all
okay.
So where do you want to start us with this journey? What would you like to start? Where would you like to start with the journey? Because you are in a blended family. So
yes.
Came into your blended family. How many children? Who had children?
Okay. So this year we will be celebrating 10 years, my husband and I, in September. 10 years. Thank you. And our dynamics is that I came into the relationship with two boys who were 6 and 15, 16 at the time. Okay. So my husband had no children of his own coming in. So that was a different dynamics because he came into an instant family. So, and so that was different. And so we got married. We were very excited. We were trying to figure out, we were all now in one home and just learning each other. I mean, like everything just happened so fast. I mean, it's one thing when you date, because he went home. You know, he could be with us all day, but at the end of the day, he would go home. And so now we're married, and like they say, the rubber meets the road, because you know, now it's how do we deal with things? Because you can go to counseling all day long, and they can give you these broad scope of things that could possibly happen, or what you think you would do on a high level. You know, the big things: adultery, infidelity. Say that again.
I'm agreeing with you. They give you the big stuff. It's the little stuff that we need to talk about.
Right. You know, we talk about finances. Do you have the same account? Do you not? Like, all of that is cool, but you know, day to day, that's not something that you're talking about. You're talking about who's going to pick up when and how, and the impact of now. He had no children. So I had two children. One that would have to go to before and after care. One, you know, so who drops off? How can we be on time for school? One in high school, one in grammar school, one in elementary school. And then we became pregnant right after the honeymoon.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, so we were newlyweds. Now we're learning each other, and now I'm pregnant.
In a blended family.
And we're in a blended family, and we got two different biological dads. So there's two more people. That is in our mix. So, and they have different personalities.
Wow.
Different ways that they're involved in their son's life. So it was a whole lot of learning going on that first year, because again, my husband had seen the biologicals, but he wasn't really that much engaged, because when we dated, we only dated for 9 months before.
Oh, y'all was hot and heavy. You was like, this is my boo thing. I'm about to lock it on. This is my boo thing, and we gonna make. He put a ring on it. Go ahead, Tony.
By December, So we met in May at church. We met at the end of April, May. We started talking, but not serious. We was just kind of talking because we was working on an event together. But after that, you know, he started pushing up on me and flirting and everything. We went out May and May, June. We dated for a little while, and by December we were engaged. He proposed on on Christmas Eve. He proposed. No, it wasn't Christmas Eve. I think it was New Year's Eve. Yeah, New Year's Eve. Oh, sorry, Christmas Eve. He hears me. He's like, Christmas Eve, girl. Remember?
He's gonna get you right. He gonna get you right. Get the story right, ma'am. Get it together.
Remember this. I knew it was one of the holidays. But yeah, he gave me my ring, and we had talked about it. And then that following year, we were married in September. And like I said, being newlyweds, and so it's like that whole transition, you know. You go from dating to being engaged to planning a wedding. We did some bonding, but of course we were just kind of real focused on the wedding, because it's like you just getting the wedding. You know, he had a really good relationship with our boys, so they were very welcoming, especially the younger. I find that the younger kids don't really have the main issue of concern was that 16-year-old who has been basically the man of the house
so he thought.
For 16 years. Yeah, because, I had him when I was 17. Right. I was pregnant at 16, had him at 17. So he's been with me half of my life up until that point. And so now he has another person coming in and, how do you blend that? Because it's like, I'm halfway grown. You can't tell me what to do, even though he did not really approach Tony that way because Tony was really,
He was thinking it, I'm sure. It was in his
Yeah, but I think it was all in Tony's approach because Tony didn't come in as authoritative, like, this is the rules, this is what you're going to do. It was more like a buy-in, getting to know them. So he would get to know the youngest at the time on his own, and then the oldest he would spend time and build that relationship with him. So he knew, like, I'm not trying to replace your dad, I'm not trying to be your dad, I'm just trying to know who you are and let's build a relationship. And now them two, sometimes the oldest one will talk to him before he talks to me. So it's like,
but men talk differently though. That's a good thing, because some stuff I'm like, dude, I don't want to know about this. With my 22-year-old, I'm like, I'm not the audience for this conversation. You're gonna need to call.
And that's difficult. And it's difficult for some people that I've come in contact with. Like, some people may feel like, oh, we don't keep secrets, So, but in order for Tony to have developed trust with him, there had to be conversations that I didn't know about. And at first, I felt a certain way about him, divulging stuff to Tony that he didn't want to tell me, like, especially when it came to girls, because he knew how I felt. You know what I mean? So Tony might be
has a different understanding, like men. And I think that this is a good topic because women don't realize we're women. And so men need to have men conversations. Because I know my son, the middle one, Dane would come to me. I'm like, time out. I need to not have this talk. I need you to call dad, please.
Right.
My husband, I said, you need to talk to dad. I was like, love, you got to talk. I can't have all these conversations. I'm glad that he's this open with me. I'm going to need him to digress like a lot.
I need you to bring that down to a mommy level, right?
Like all the way down to we're not talking. Just don't even whisper. Call somebody else, son. But I love that you want to talk to me about this. But I love that you realized that was important for him and you opened up to allow that to be. That is a good thing.
Yeah, because it really built the relationship between Tony and the oldest son.
Right.
And so he realized that, because he know, like, had he told me, like, it was certain things, like with girls, and I had, like, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. And so he knows, like, I would ask Tony, like, so what did he say? And Tony would be like, well, we talked about it. You know what I mean?
He knew like, what you could tell you.
I'm fishing. So what did he say? So like, are they doing stuff? Are they, are they having sex? Or are they doing? And he would be like, I don't know. And I'd be like, what do you mean you don't know?
What are you here for? You don't have no answers.
You're supposed to tell me everything that goes on.
How this works? You find out. You tell me, and then I don't know with the information. Yes, I know. I'm with you.
But Keith knew that I didn't know based on whatever they talked about, because I didn't have any response. Like, I didn't say anything. So he knew, because he knows if it's something that I just don't agree with, I'm going to say something.
And that's exactly why your husband didn't tell you.
And that's why my husband didn't tell you. Until this day, I still don't know what they talked about when he was 16, 17 years old, 19, 20, 21, so, and I was okay, but that was a learning point. I at first it was very uneasy, but I was thinking, if I trust Tony enough to marry him, why don't I trust him to have a conversation with not my son now? This is somebody who's taken on a responsibility and treated him as his son. So
I can't say that again for the people in the back. Say that again for the people in the back. Because this is a big place where we as mothers, especially as single mothers, I was a teenage mother, you were a teenage mother, we're teenage mothers raising these kids. Now we meet this man that we married, that we trust, but then all of a sudden the trust stops when it comes to the kid. Like why are the boundaries here? You know? So please say
why did you marry him?
Exactly.
Right. Why did you marry him if you didn't trust that he would be able to help you direct your children's life? You know what I mean? Like, if he's not good enough to help you guide and lead the children, then you didn't need to marry that person. And because I mean, like you said, as a single mom, you know, Black moms, you know, as they say, you know, we're strong, we're independent. However, we got to learn when to let go of the reins because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And fall back. You're actually more stronger when you fall back.
Hello. If you just dance with it, you know, when you resist the wave, think about it. When people are in an ocean and they are trying to resist that tidal wave, that rip wave, that tidal is coming, and you're trying to resist it, you drowned. But if you just let go and flow with it, sure, you're going to be further than you were, but at least you live. When you just relax and dance with it and go with it, it's all good. Like, and you know what, when I think of my husband, I said I was looking for a man because she and Dame were middle school, 11 and 12 when we met. I wanted a man that my daughter would she would see the qualities of a husband in, you know, what a husband, how a man provides and what a husband is to a wife, and a man that I would be okay with my son growing up to be like. You know, I wanted to be able to have this son where a woman could come to me to say thank you, just like I went to his mother and said thank you for this wonderful son that you raised. You know, I'm grateful for him. But we have to lay back, ladies, any ladies who are in a place of dating. You know, if you've heard a man say, baby girl, you need to fall back and relax, might just want to listen to a little bit of something. And if you say, I ain't listening to him, he's not the one for you because you don't trust him enough.
Yeah. If you don't trust him, then, you can't trust him just with you. You know what I mean? Like, this is somebody that you're partnering with for life. Right. So that means, you know, we never came into the relationship or even our engagement or even in our marriage as a us, them. Right. So it was never like, it's me and my boys and then Tony. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was, because Tony never came like that. He never approached it in that manner. Mm-hmm. And it was like, these are my boys. And if you ever was to just walk up to him, he would say, oh yeah, we got 4 children. Yeah. We got 1 angel baby. Like, he would just go on. And my sons, he will always say that. Now, once people see them, they may be like, oh, they don't look like him. And then he will say, but then he may say, you know, oh, these are my bonus kids or whatever. Because people who know him know he didn't have a 17-year-old and a 26. But he would never distinguish them and say, oh, I got 2 biological kids and 2 bonus kids. He never introduces them like that. It's just, I got 4 kids, ages 4, 5, 17, and 26.
I love it. I love it. So then let's talk about this journey. So now you're pregnant, you're 9 days, you're on your newlyweds. So you have newlyweds of being pregnant, plus you're in the blended family, and take us through that part of the journey.
So actually, everybody was pretty excited when we found out that we was pregnant, and we were very excited about expecting a new baby. And then, you know, for a 16-year-old to be excited about anything, it would be like earth-shattering, you know, because 16-year-olds usually don't care about anything other than at that time playing video games, girls, you know, hanging out with friends. But he was actually really excited. And the 6-year-old, 7-year-old, he was just like, okay, you know, another day. Right. He didn't understand it. But once we found out that we were expecting a princess, like, everybody because this was going to be a new girl coming into this kingdom with all these boys. And so we were very excited. Like, and that year was the year that it snowed really bad outside. And I was like, you know, we really just merged together because we would play like video games. Wii was big, you know, the game Nintendo Wii was big. So we would play that and we would just enjoy each other. So we were really just blending and merging together. Right around April, I was entering into the 7th week of pregnancy, regular routine. I just went to a doctor's appointment, regular appointment. And then I became sick, thought it was a cold, did everything that I knew to do as far as like what medicines I could take, when to call, like if you're not noticing anything getting better after 2 or 3 days, call a doctor and just make sure, you know, just check in. So I was like, okay, fine, did that. And next thing you know, I ended up having some contractions and I ended up having to go to the doctor. So then they sent me to the labor and delivery floor. And then after a while, they sent me home, which was really hard because at that moment, that was a very distinguished moment because that was a moment that would come back to me later and kind of haunt me about going home that day. So stick your pin right there. And so then I went home and then they were like, just monitor, drink a lot of water, you're dehydrated, drink some water, put your feet up, you're fine. You know, you're not opening, you're not dilating. Everything seems to be okay. Just go home and relax. So I did. You know how they tell you if your contractions continue for a long period of time, then call or head it back into the emergency room.
Absolutely.
So I did. I kept a log, and it never hit that threshold that they said. And so the next day, I was still having the contractions, and I went back, and I was admitted into the hospital at that point. And I would learn that I had an infection, and they had asked me, you know, they'd given me some medicine, but they didn't say like take it right away because we didn't know what was going on. So I was like, I'll just go home and go to sleep because I was tired. I'll take it the next day. So I never got that first dosage. So once I went back to labor and delivery, the doctor asked me, did I take that medicine? That's why I brought it up. And I said no. So she went off, you know, and medicine, you got this infection. Well, I didn't know what type of infection. They just said infection. So anyway, long story short, they were like, as long as your water doesn't break, you're fine. You're going to be on bed rest for the remaining of your pregnancy.
And you're at 8 weeks right now.
I'm 28 weeks. 28. So I'm into the second, almost third trimester. Okay. So I'm right on that brink of the 12th trimester. I mean, third trimester. Good Lord. I hope we ain't pregnant for 12 trimesters. So that Saturday, my water broke. And the nurse came in and she checked, she said, your water broke. And it really was just like, oh my God, just like we had already been prepared with if she came early, what would happen. They took Tony on the tour through the NICU and they was like, you know, African-American babies statistically does very well being born premature.
Okay.
She's Black, she's African-American, and she's a girl. So statistic-wise, she had a lot of things positive in her favor for survival. Okay. So he's like, okay. But again, they can't say your baby is going to make it, but they just say statistically, she had a lot of things in her favor. So we go in. I had to have a C-section. They take her out, and everything goes black. Instantly, everything goes black. And I wake up and I'm like, where's my baby? And my doctor says to me, I'm sorry. She's just like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, because I'm groggy, because I'm under the anesthetics, because I had the epidural. But what I didn't know why I was so groggy at the time was because they had like really just gave me so much medicine to like knock me out.
On purpose.
And so, yeah, on purpose. And so I was like, when I woke up, I'm like, where's my baby? And she just said, she looks over the curtain and she's just like, I am so sorry. And everything goes black again. So I don't wake back up again until recovery room. And Tony, on the other hand, he's in the room. And of course, I learned this afterwards. So he's in the room. He's in the NICU with Anaya, and he's having to make a decision. They're pumping on her. They're they're doing CPR on her, and they're trying to get her to respond, and she's not. And Tony is faced with his first pregnancy ever in life, watching his daughter, watching these NICU neonatologists, nurses trying to save his baby. And yeah, and they're like, we'll keep doing this for as long as you want. However, she's not responding. The only thing keeping her here is us, providing the CPR.
Right.
So, he falls out. He falls out on the floor because he's like, this is not
happening.
He was looking forward to. And he's like, okay, can we get her ready for baptism? Can we baptize her before she goes? And chaplain runs, gets the outfit, gets her all cleaned up. They get her all dressed up in her white and put her things on. And they allow him to baptize his daughter. Yeah. And then he just tells them to stop all the CPR, because this is clearly going on for some time, and she's still just not responding. And so they do, and he holds her until she's gone.
And you're still under, so you're not even
still in recovery. They're doing the cesarean. They're closing me back up. And so what I learned was, after the doctor told me that, I'm sorry and everything goes black, is because she said I tried to get up. Like, where do you mean? Like, I'm getting up off of the table, literally.
Oh, you were leaving. You were going to go get your
literally going, like, what are you talking about? Like, we mean,
I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll be right back, because I have no idea what
they were like, get her medicine right now. Yeah, they had
anesthesia is like, zap her out. She's not going to remember. So that's why I don't know all of what was going on. That's why I was black 2 times, because she's like, you literally tried to get off of the operating table and we had to knock you out.
I'll be right back. I can sew this stuff up in a minute, but I got something to do right now.
You like, all you was straight up mommy mode. Like, what do you mean? And where is my baby? And what are you talking about? I'm sorry. Yeah, she was like, clearly, what happened? Oh,
I'm here.
Okay, hold on, Tony's phone. So it was just like, what are you talking about? So, so anyway, we come into the recovery. They bring me Anaya, and we just all just crying. My mom and my dad are there. They were there before I went into the OR, but it was just heartbreaking, but. And it was difficult, to go home. And when we left the hospital, we actually left out side by side with another couple who were leaving with their baby. Yeah. And the nurse was like, she ran over and she talked to the other nurse, because we were parked. Not only were we coming out of the door together, but we were actually parked side by side. Oh, and so and they ran over there and told them, just, could you give them a few minutes? Because, they just briefly told them what happened, and they were like, absolutely. So they went back into the hospital and waited till we got in. But I was able to see out the rearview mirror them get in the car, put their baby in the car seat. And it was like the longest the longest ride home. You know, it was horrible because I had this C-section and I'm in a lot of pain. And I really just wanted to check out. Like I had literally checked out. And that's kind of where the book came from. 10 Keys to Walking in Greatness was birthed out of that. One night I told Tony, because Tony never left my side. He stayed in the basement. I couldn't go up the steps because they were like, you know, you got the cesarean. And plus I had to go back in like 2 weeks. So she was like, just stay on one level for 2 weeks. And then once you do your checkup, then you can go all the way up. So I was like, okay. And so I told him to go away. I said, just go upstairs and go to bed. You're not comfortable. You've been sleeping down here for like a week now, and you can just go ahead upstairs. I'm fine. Because I wanted to be by myself too, but he wanted to be by my side. And so, he did. I was able to convince him to go upstairs, and he was like, he didn't know I was getting ready to commit suicide that night because just how low I was, you know, because I was like, here I am. I didn't come into this marriage with 2 boys, and you know, I've made mistakes in the past, and I, you know, had previous abortions before. I'm like, oh, okay, this is God punishing me for all of the things that I've done wrong. And now
like God was punishing you for something.
Yeah, and it's like this one guy that really loves me and is really doing all of the things that he said, and I can't give him this baby. I can't give him this one thing that I know he wants.
Right.
And I just want it out. I just want it out. And so I filled up the water in the sink. Now, Tony he didn't learn about this until like months later when we first started telling our story. And he was just like, what? So I was like, yeah, I filled up.
He learned about it when everybody else learned about it.
He learned about it when everybody else learned about it. I never told him.
Therapy. That's great therapy, Sanita. Hey,
I know.
Let us really bond. Let us really bond. Me, you, and everybody else. He was like, that was a nice
what? Because he had heard me, you know, share before, but I had never shared that part of the story.
Right.
And so that night, it was like I just heard a voice, and it was so clear. Like I was crying, I was weeping, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then I heard a voice tell me, you can do this. And so I literally just slide down. Now, I tell people, I know I was in a certain level of grief because I slid down a wall after having a cesarean. And anybody who's ever had a cesarean, you don't know what kind of pain that is. So for me to slide down a wall and not really feel the pain, my pain, my grief outweighed the pain of my body. So even though I was taking the Percocet more, like I became even the codeine and the Percocet because I was taking them more than I should have taken them because I wanted to numb the pain. Percocet takes you to another world. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I didn't feel anything. It would make me sleepy, and you know, so probably the Percocet me not feel as much pain of me sliding down. But once I got up, you can do this was said multiple times. And that's where I basically got the book, 10 Keys. So when you look at you can do this, that is the 10 letters of 10 keys. So those 10 keys are the acronym of you can do this.
Oh, so wow. Powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
So it was through writing that book that really helped me to, it was my therapy. I started writing, I started journaling. I started talking more about it because like immediately Tony and I had to start sharing our story. We were put in some really strange situations where we had a close friend who had just had a baby and they were doing her dedication, doing the baby's dedication. And she was like, oh, can you and Tony come and do the pictures and the Yeah, do the pictures and help us, and then go off and do the celebration afterwards. And we were like this shit, forget, like this wasn't a friend that like you hadn't seen. This is somebody who we were very close to. And she came to the house, and she knew we had just lost our baby. And it was just like, okay. So it was just about her, and we did it. And
you are a big people. I promise. No.
And so this was literally maybe 4 to 6 weeks after losing Anaya. We are at a baby dedication.
Wow.
Serving. Yeah. Still feeling the pain from this cesarean. And my pastor came up to us and was like, "Can I talk to you guys for a minute?" And we were like, "Oh, he gonna be like, just see how we're doing, yada yada," or who knew. But he was just like, "No, I want to tell you that what y'all just did, like most of those people in there would have no clue that you just lost your baby. And that to stand in a room with people who are holding something that I know you want, and that it's a girl, you just lost a girl, and you're sitting there and you're serving, and you're not in a corner crying. You didn't turn the tables around and make it about you." And he was just like, "God is going to bless you. God is going to bless you. I can't tell you how he's going to do it, but what I'm going to tell you is it takes a lot to do what you did." Absolutely. And I don't know how you did that. That's what he said. He said, "I don't know how you."
I don't think I could have been that. I couldn't have done it.
Yeah, and it was just like things like that kept coming up, and we were like, "Okay, God." And then after that, after losing Anaya, of course, everybody is hurting, and we didn't realize that everybody was hurting. I mean, we had the 16-year-old who we didn't realize was hurting just as much as we were. Right. And it wasn't until his grandmother brought it to our attention. And so, because he used to play the keyboard all the time, and then he stopped. He wasn't playing. I mean, when I say all the time, like early in the morning, in the day.
You didn't know that there was a difference.
No, because I was grieving so bad that I didn't. I barely recognized Tony's grief. So I went through my own grief cycle of being angry, being, the blame game, the not blaming game, but it's like, there's the cycle where you the coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah, and if I would have done this different, if I would have taken
and that's where,
yes,
right. So that's where me going home that day came back to kind of bite me, because I was like, I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have never left the hospital. I should have made them keep me there. Right. But I didn't know. I didn't know. They told me to go home, so I went home. I trusted them. And so it was like, but I just constantly, did I miss something? I missed something. Did I miss her? I should have called 2 days before, So it was a lot of blaming that I did. And then once we realized, I went back to the doctor. She was like, wait a year to try again, give your body a chance to heal. Then I became obsessed with becoming pregnant again.
Yes.
And I realized that it wasn't working. And it wasn't working because we didn't get pregnant because we weren't not trying. We didn't use preventatives. I was just like, well, why aren't we getting pregnant? And so then I was like, every moment, like on every type of calendar there was, let's do it. 2 weeks. Let's do, then it was like nothing's working.
It was like, this is not even fun. It's just not even
let's do this every day. So Tony's like, yeah, let's do this every day and see if it works, And it wasn't, but he didn't know. Like it was no thrill, no emotion. Let's just because I want a baby, right?
Every day.
Every day. Just come on, let's do this. And I mean, at first he was, of course, happy to oblige.
Yeah, however, like this is not fun.
This is not fun. Like you're not making this fun. I wasn't making this fun. I was just like, do what you got to do, and let's see what happens, And then I'm buying all the practice. Give me my baby, and I would literally go into a depressed cycle came. And we could be out having a great time and it'd be a great moment. But then, like, if my cycle just started, it would just totally change the whole night. Just kill the whole night. Because I would just be like, I want to go home. And then I had attitude. But he didn't understand it. He didn't know. And that would lead us on our journey of fertility because my doctor ended up sending us to Shady Grove Fertility, where I met with Dr. McKeeby. And he was like, oh, let's run some tests. Let's do some things. And come to find out, I was having some issues with, it was me. It wasn't him. And so, and even getting him to do the test that he needed to do. Was a big difference.
That's a man, a pride thing, especially because you already had 3 kids. And so you're like, it can't be me. It's got to be you. And you're not blaming, but you're blaming.
It's got to be your swimmers. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not me. But it ended up being me. And
you're funny.
It was me. Yeah, it was me. And so then we were faced with a 10% chance of getting pregnant on our own. I had to have a tube removed. I had to have 1 tube removed, which brought down our chances of conceiving on our own to about 10 to 12%.
Wow.
So now we're faced with, okay, do we have children? Are we going to be able to conceive? You're over 35, so you're old.
Yep.
So AMA, advanced maternal age. And so it just wasn't looking good. And surgery. And that was something Tony did not want me to do because I had already had a surgery prior. Losing Anaya, like when we first met, I had a myomectomy. So I had all kinds of issues before. Yep. And so it's I did too. You did too? Oh, my fibroids were horrible. That's a whole nother show. But yeah. And so it was like, yeah. And so I had the myomectomy years prior, and now I'm going back in to have a tube removed and possibility no baby. And then with the cost of fertility drugs,
oh my gosh,
oh my gosh, we're not even getting to the IVF where it's like 25,000
right
on a maybe, and then the other fertility drugs are a maybe, and you're looking at it was about $800 for 2 pills.
And you need more than 2.
And you need more than 2. And that's for the rounds. You know what I mean? And then if it works, it's great. It's your possibility. It also gave us the possibility of having twins, which we were like, oh, great.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Right. But needless to say, God had an alternative plan. And we had the surgery, and he was like, we're only going to give you like 2 months, 2-3 months to try on your own because you're getting up there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I was like, okay. And so he was like, okay, so after your time, you can go ahead and try. We were supposed to go to Hawaii for Maui because when I had my C-section, Tony was telling them, we go to Maui, we're going to do this and that. And they were like, we want to go. And so,
bring it on.
Yeah. And so we had planned. All right. So, but needless to say, I became pregnant before we went on the trip.
Yeah.
And whoop, 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 right? Yeah, but it's not necessarily as whoop, whoop as we like. It was like whoop, whoop, but whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Because once you become pregnant after you've lost the baby, it's like excitement and joy, but there's a lot of anxiety and stress that comes along. And especially with her heart wasn't beating at first. So right before we left for our trip, we had no idea if she was even alive, at that time, because it was the timing. So he was like, we don't know, we don't know if your dates are off, or by now the heart should be beating. And if the heart is not, but you go on and go to Hawaii, enjoy yourself. And don't think
God. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah, thanks. And it was like, I know it's easy for us to say that, but we need you to just go and have a good time and then come back. And then I was like, okay, but that whole time we were just like, oh my God, we was like so much anxiety. We did have fun.
Good.
But it was still just like, I can't wait to hurry up and get back.
Yeah,
so get back to the hospital, back to Shady Grove so they can check. And when they did, her heart was beating. We didn't know she was a her, but but her heart was beating at the time. And that's where we were. And then after we had our daughter, we were blessed with our son. We weren't expecting that. We weren't expecting him at all. And I was actually kind of embarrassed because I was like, oh my God, I just had a baby and now I'm pregnant again. But that
was good.
God gave us double.
Look at that.
God gave us double. Gave us our twins. Because they're called Irish twins because she's born in May and he's born in June the following year. So she's May 22. You do too?
Yeah, they're 8.5 months apart. I definitely got myself a pair. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's pretty much where Anaya's project is birthed from. Is a couple of years after, of course, Anaya, and after the birth of our rainbow babies. And the rainbow baby is a baby that follows loss. So Ariana is our rainbow baby, and so is Sam. He's our bonus rainbow. And so Anaya's project is our 501c3 organization that focuses on pregnancy loss and infant loss, whether it's the baby was born, SIDS. We just have a heart for babies that don't get a chance to stay around long. So we definitely want to support those families, as well as the families who face fertility challenges, because we know what that's like, to be trying and trying and trying, and it's just looking like it's not working. And you really just don't have a lot of people that you can talk to, because a lot of people don't understand. So we would have people that would tell us while we were trying, oh, just try again, just, have another baby.
We got practice under our belt. Thanks.
Yeah, like I didn't lose a pair of shoes. Right. I can't just go out there and get, like, we gave birth to an actual.
Very insensitive, I found, because I know people who lost babies, and it's traumatic, and people are very insensitive with. Out of curiosity, speaking of that, and I don't know if this is a great friend of yours or not, if even she came back to say, I'm sorry. Have you ever talked to this friend about, like, what exactly were you thinking when you asked me to serve during your child's, like, that's selfish.
Yeah. I think that what I find is some people, they're not really being insensitive and malicious or selfish. It's just, if you've never been in that situation, you have no idea what that's like. Like, for some reason, when it comes to pregnancy loss, people can kind of minimize being pregnant. Like, you just do it. You know what I mean? You do it, you have sex with your partner, you get pregnant, okay, yay. And then 40 weeks later, you have this baby. Mm-hmm. And then after the baby comes, it's kumbaya and all of that. And so we don't understand that really when you're giving birth and the pregnancy, it's a whole lot of life and death going on, and a life going into you. And unless you've been there, You know, I've had people just talking to other people, had people reference dogs. Like, oh yeah, I lost my dog, or not me personally, but this people that I've, you know, talked to and coached on.
So what you're saying is the comparison is I lost a child, you lost a dog.
I lost a dog, or well, I kind of understand because you know I lost my like, but it's still grief. You know what I mean? So sometimes we may have hierarchies, like, oh, it wasn't your mother, it wasn't your father. Still have other kids. Yeah, but I wanted this one. You know what I mean? I still had this one. This one was still a child. Or
like there should be a list of things not to say. Like somebody should create a list so that when people have lost, there's just this list that you can glance at all the things you just don't need to say.
Yeah.
And those are those things, because unless you have been through that exact, and I know fertility, I've been through it personally. It's something that I just haven't shared, and I'm not even in a place in my life where I'm open to share that just yet.
You have to get to that.
Yeah, you have to get to that point. So, but I do know 100% what you're talking about. With that desire of wanting to have a child with your husband and that one special person. I know what that's like personally. You know, as I listen, I can relate to that portion of your story 100%. But there's other parts of your story that I can't relate to. And even though I know people and even family members who have gone through what you're sharing, I still can't say I know it. I know the
right.
I felt, you know, from the loss of a family member. And I know the mourning that I did of my own. I can't even imagine the mourning that happened for the other person, you know, for the mother of the precious baby, you know, going through giving birth and a C-section, and you know that, and the thing that people don't think about is the milk still comes.
Yes, that's the other part, is that
your body doesn't know that precious gift is no longer with you, and so it's still preparing for all these things. So what are some of the top things that you would say you wish people knew if we were able to give? Like, don't
say what?
Like, don't say this. You know, if you're saying,
I would say I would say the number one thing is don't say you can have another one. Because the truth of the matter is you don't know what it cost that person to have the one that they lost. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
For some, some women have lost 9, 10, miscarried so many times. And to go as far as 28 weeks, and that's like 7 months. You're like right there on the brink of about to bring this baby into the world. And this baby has developed fully. And so to be like, oh, you can have another one, it's almost like you're neglecting the importance of this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can say to somebody, you can have another mom.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when it's older people or like people who had a chance for life, you know, someone who's 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, they experience life.
Right.
When you lose a baby at 28 weeks, they didn't get a chance to even, you know, because, you know, when you're expecting longevity. You're expecting to bring this baby home and you're going to have all these new experiences and you're not going to get that. So I would say, please don't say you can have another one.
Right.
Okay. Please don't say, if someone is still grieving a month from now, 3 months, 6 months, don't tell them, are you still grieving over that?
No.
Like, are you still like, why are you talking about this? For some reason, when it comes to pregnancy loss, there's a lack of empathy on why someone should feel a certain way. And especially, it doesn't matter if a person miscarried or they miscarried, or they lost or gave birth at 36 weeks. Right. Because it hurts, because you really wanted this pregnancy. You know what I mean? You really anticipated from the very beginning that you wanted this. You've been to doctor's appointments. You have gotten your blood drawn. You have sleepless nights. You done gone to the sonogram. You're hoping to get to the sonogram, because you don't know when that person found out. Some people have found out that their baby's heartbeat is not there at the most exciting time. And that's usually at the sonogram that's going to tell them, are they having a girl or a boy? But you go in there and you find out, instead of finding out that you're having a girl or a boy, you're finding out that your baby's heart has just stopped beating or has been stopped. So don't minimize or tell people how long they can grieve. Don't tell people that they can have another baby, right? I want people to know, say that baby's name. If that person has named them, for example, Anaya Simone, I'm telling you, you can find it everywhere. April 26, 2010, she was born into this world. Acknowledge her. Yes. You don't have to, if you're uncomfortable, hard. I just want you to know that I remember that you had lost this baby. Even if you can't remember the date, but it was sometime in April. Right. Or sometime in May, for somebody that you know. Acknowledge them. You know what I mean? Because you never know. Some people feel uneasy because they think, oh, if they're having a good day, I don't want to mess up their day. But you never know. Because you would acknowledge if my mother passed, you acknowledge if my dad passed, you would acknowledge if my oldest son passed or my youngest son, you would say something to me. So say something to me, especially if I'm talking about it. Like if you see somebody who's comfortable in talking about it, or even if they're not publicly like me talking about it, but they still acknowledging their baby, and even if they're not, just send them a card. Because chances are they would appreciate you remembering and acknowledging their loss.
Something about them. I agree. Oh, it looks like IG is putting us off in 35 seconds. So in closing, so that we don't just hang up on these people in case they get hung up on. Right. Michelle, I'll answer your question. Sidebar really quick. She asked a question about when we were talking about the husbands bonding with our sons. So Michelle, I'll hit you up offline, and if anybody wants that answer, DM me, because I do have some thoughts on that, because we're not an interracial couple, but we are a multicultural couple. My husband is Nigerian, so but they're gone now. Anyway, they're probably like, doggone it. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Instagram cuts you off, Facebook doesn't.
Sorry, guys. So anyway,
I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that.
We learned. It's fine. They'll be okay. They can watch it again.
Right.
You can join on Facebook. Michelle's on Facebook anyway, so she knows where to find us. So
yeah,
she knows where to find us. So I think that those are great points. I think that part of the reason why people don't say anything is they don't know what to say.
People don't know what to say.
They don't know what to say. So then they don't say anything. But in your case, and I don't think that mothers that are going through that, if they haven't gone through the grieving process and even writing a book to express themselves, they don't know to say, it's okay to talk to me. But if I hear you correctly, basically, if you hear a mother who is sharing and speaking about her child, then you can talk about the child also. So in I'm
sorry, I don't want it to die.
Oh no, please don't. No, you're doing the right thing. So I think that that's a great nugget. If the mother,
even if the mom isn't talking about it, it's still just good to acknowledge that they've lost. Like, you remember. You know what I mean? Like, I remember that you lost the baby. So whether she's talking about it or not, because she may not be at a place where she can talk about it.
Right.
So I mean that she's not willing to accept the fact that you acknowledge her loss. Right. I also want to say, I know we're talking about moms, but don't forget the dads. Please acknowledge the fathers because they hurt. One of the main things that hurt Tony even the most was people would just ask him how I was doing. How is Sanita? How is she doing? Like he did not lose a daughter too.
Right. And he went through dealing with everything in the hospital while you were in one place. He had that visualization burned in his memory forever.
Yes, absolutely. Forever. That's something that, and we had to work through that. You know what I mean? We had to work through, because some of my anger would later be at the fact that he made that decision. So that was very difficult. You know what I mean? Because, you know, moms, we think, you should have brought the baby to me. I was the mom.
I would have fixed it. I would
have fixed it. If she would have got to me, she might have responded to me because I'm her mother.
Right.
She would have listened to me. So what does that make him feel like?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like she didn't realize that was her father. You know, so but that was my own grief. I had to go through my own journey. Right. And so the people who are, you know, wanting to know how to approach a person, it would just be, again, acknowledge the fact that they remember. Don't say, you know, how long you still talking about that. That's a real pet peeve.
And
like really,
it's very insensitive.
Well, you're still hurting over that. Yep. Like there are times that, you know, oh, well, you got 2 more babies, so you shouldn't still be talking about Anaya. Why? Like this was still hurtful. We still talk about her. We still celebrate her birthday. So it's like,
did you get pictures? Do you have pictures of her? Did you get to take pictures while you were at the hospital?
Yes, I did get a chance. Well, the chaplain took pictures of her, and that was something else that we had to learn how to, like, I was more ready to look at her pictures than, say, her dad. That took a lot to look at the pictures and to even share the pictures. So even on the website for anayasproject.org, you'll see her feet, but that's about it. You'll see the encasement of her feet, but not her actual feet. And that was a compromise because you'll find that sometimes the spouse is still in one place where they don't want to share certain things with the world. And you might be like, I want to show all the pictures, you know, but they may be like, no, you can show the footprint of it, but you can't show the actual footprint.
You know, I actually have, because I have a family member, I lost a nephew, and in our home, I have this huge family, you know, collage of everyone, and the picture is of his mother and his tiny little, my nephew Avery, his tiny little fingers, and I literally have that picture up with the rest of my family as a remembrance. You know, when you talk about that, I think about that, and he's there. And my husband never said a word. Actually, no one in the family ever said a word because he's my nephew. You know, he's Avery.
Right.
He was born. He was here.
He was
here. Yeah. And so I have that, and I have it right up there, you know, Auntie's little angel right there.
And
so
like
I know.
Even down to the youngest ones, they know she was here. So because they hear us talk about her all the time, we have the nonprofit. So even when the kindergartner went to school and we had to do a family tree, Anaya is on there. So she'll tell everybody, like, my sister, this is my sister. We had like a butterfly on there and we put her name on it. And so she'll say, this is my sister's in heaven. And of course, she'll ask questions every once in a while, like, you know, why did she go to heaven? And, you know, will I see her? And, you know, and she'll have her little questions. But for the most part, she knows she has a sister. And, you know, the 4-year-old, he kind of just mimics her. You know, he'll get it, but he'll repeat whatever his older sister say. But she kind of gets it, you know, like in her own way, she understands it. And so I think that's key too for anybody who may listen is you find ways to incorporate. It's okay to incorporate your loss, your baby, whether it was in pregnancy, whether it was through SIDS, incorporate them just like you would with anybody else, your grandmother, aunties, you know, incorporate them so that they're never forgotten. They won't be forgotten unless you don't put them out there in the front. And people you have to, one, teach people how to approach you. So I tell people all the time, it's okay, just don't, be mindful of what you might say.
Right.
Because it depends on the kind of mood I'm in. And sometimes when you approach that person, it may be like, oh, I'm good. Or I'm okay. It's not a rejection of you.
Right.
It's just that maybe at that moment, sometimes people block. They got blockers to keep them from feeling a certain way. Mm-hmm. So if you catch them on that day, it's okay. Don't take it personal.
Right. It's a sensitive topic.
It's very sensitive.
It always will be. And as long as we understand and embrace that it's not our journey, it's someone else's journey. And unless we have literally walked in those shoes, like I have a very close encounter with it, because like I said, it was my nephew, but I wasn't there, Yes, I wasn't there. And I know how I felt. And so it's just a sensitive topic. And that's why I said, I think that this is a good topic to talk about, just to help people know what to say, what not to say. And sometimes it's okay not to say anything and just sit there.
That's what I was going to say. Sometimes the best thing is to not say nothing. And that's why I said you can get a card, you can send some fruit, you can say, if you really just like, I want to do something, you could do a donation on their behalf to like an organization on their behalf. You can do so many things that does not require you to say anything like, oh, I understand how you're feeling. And, and even if you have experienced it, you may not know, you can understand it, but everybody's walk and journey is a lot different. So, so that's Anaya's project. And we actually have our 1-year celebration coming up in April. So on April 27th, we'll be celebrating the organization. Are you having Yes. So on April 27th, which will follow Anaya's birthday, we usually try to do all the celebration because the organization was birthed in April to remember her. So April 26th is her birthday. April 27th is the celebration. So where the tickets are $60, and that includes the meal and just the event, all the proceeds, portions of the portions of the proceeds will go towards a cuddle cot for our local hospital in Maryland. So a cuddle cot, real quick, is a machine that preserves the baby's body. So once a family has experienced loss, the cuddle cot will be brought out into their room, and their baby will be able to stay with them for a long period of time. Some of the cuddle cots can actually go home with the families so that they can, some families like to do, like, I just want to get them home. I want to take a picture of them in their room. I want to be able to go put on grandma's dress and have grandma come out, but she's at the house, so I can take the baby home, and it preserves the baby's body from going through the natural causes. So they're able to have more time, especially if the mom, without them having to be in the morgue, you know what I mean? Able to stay by the family's bedside for as many days. So say a mom that has complications, or a dad that was sick, whatever. They're able to, make memorable moments because of the cuddle cot. So that's what we want to donate.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, and we have a baby shower that we're going to be showering some of the rainbow babies. So you'll learn more about some of the things that we have coming up. Again, it's April 27th through from 10:30 to 2 on April 27th at the Mercy Grace Center. People can purchase tickets at Eventbrite, Anaya's project, 1-year celebration at eventbrite.com. or you can just go to our website, anayasproject.org. And there's many ways people can participate, whether sponsorship. We're still taking donations for silent auctions. We still have sponsors, and we still have people who just want to contribute. And we're still looking for vendors who can do personalized memorial kind of things. So that's what we're looking for. So if they want to reach out, info at anayasproject.org if you want to just email me for more information.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Sanita, for sharing your journey. I really, really, really appreciate it because it's a lot to share. And I'm grateful that you share, because the more we talk about these things, the more we gain an understanding of what to do, what to say, what not to say. You know, sometimes we just don't know. So I can't
especially in African American community, we just about it. And like it's 1 in 4 pregnancies that are lost, but African American women and families are impacted at an even higher level that is on a society level. So 1 in 4 is like everybody, 1 in 4. But with the African American community, that number is even smaller, right? Statistics wise.
Right.
So the disparity between the African American women, you know, them dying dying themselves, their babies dying. So we have to this in our community so that we can be educated on you know, how to handle this and be more active. So it's a huge movement.
Absolutely.
But I thank you so much for having me on your show tonight. You just doing some things.
Thank you. I really can't thank you enough. I really, really thank you. And if there's anything else, if there's you know, as April comes closer and there are things that are happening, let me know. I'm glad to have you back. Please join us again. We can have you back and you can come out and you know, share. So just, you know how to find me anyway. So just let me know. Hey, I want to get some more stuff. And you're always welcome back, of course. Of course, of course.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys, we just had Sanita Mitchell, who's absolutely amazing. Join us on Tea with Tanisha O. And your book is, do you have a copy of the book so that you can show them if they?
I could get it. I can grab it. I have one right here.
I want to grab it. I'll do my last thing. I'm an empowered stepmother. She's part of our family quilt of love. So if you don't have this book, I know, isn't that nice?
I like that. I thought I was like, ooh, quilt of love. Right.
I was like, oh, I like that. I'll write that. I came up with that today, but I love writing.
Oh, really? That was really good.
You wouldn't even know. Yeah, no, I really did.
Oh, I did not read anything. I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, I just thought of it today.
But you have to do something with it. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, literally, while I was typing, I was like, quilt of love. She's not a stepmother. So I was she's still part of the whole family. So we're going to be a quilt of love now. So we're a quilted love now. We're a quilt of love in our blended family community. So thank you. If you don't have this book, the title of your book is I'm trying to see the small print and I can't.
It's okay. It's 10 Keys to Walking in Greatness, and that can be purchased at sanitamitchell.com, or you can find it at amazon.com as well. So
go get that book, people. Sanita's also on the panel with me for the Perfect Blend in, is that May? That's May.
Yes. Oh, yes. The Blended Family Conference, which is going to be in Woodbridge. May 3rd. May 3rd.
Girl, I'm glad you said it because I was definitely going to say the 4th. Hey, it's in May. It's the 3rd.
The first weekend in May. Right.
That's the day. Be there. I'll be there. She'll be there. She's going to bring some of her books, I sure hope.
Yes,
I'll be there with books. So come on out and check us out. We're fun, as you can see. So thank you guys for staying so late. We ran over, but hey, you can't rush stories.
It was
like this. It's always good. It's always good. So thank you so much. Thanks, Sanita.
You're welcome. Thank you again.
Thanks again. I'll talk to you soon, doll.
Okay. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.